What's up, everybody? I'm Mckenty. This is my second channel, and this is your home for my Twitch highlights and my podcast. So if you like this and you want to see more of that and you want to join the live streams, there's a link to that in the description of this video. And with that out of the way, let's talk about the other big news of the day. This festival called When We Were Young. This festival might be the ultimate emo pop punk scene festival. This is happening Saturday, October 22nd, 2022 in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Festival Grounds. Look at this lineup. My Chemical Romance and Paramore headlining. AFI, The Used, Bring Me the Horizon, Taking Back Sunday, Dashboard, I Prevail, so far, Pierce the Veil, Day to Remember, Boys Like Girls, All American Rejects, Dance Gavin Dance, Sleeping with Sirens, Knocked Loose, Jaden, Avril, Mayday Parade, Motionless in White, The Main, Black Veil Brides, Neck Deep, Ice Bright Eyes, Atreyu, 303, Jimmy Eat World, The Ready Set, State Chance, For Your Strong, Horror Pop, Silverstein, Senses Fail, Bayside, Story of the Year, and Berlin, The Wonder Years, We the Kings, Red Jump Heights, Apparatus. This lineup is absolutely ridiculous, right? If I had to choose like one festival for like best lineup ever, it might be this. It might be the best lineup of all time. My first thought is that it reminded me of one of these. You remember these like graphics from like 2010, like overly sincere, like middle school scene kids posted like these kind of things? This is what keeps me alive. Collage of, you know, scene band logos. And they've also got like Glamour Kills in there. I loved these. There'd always be like one like randomly misplaced band in there that like didn't make sense. Like they would have Godsmack in there or something like that, where you're like, I don't know if I'd put Godsmack in there with Woe Is Me and Chiodos, but okay, I get what you're saying. You say Justin Bieber, I say Fall Out Boy. Reblog if you're one of the 5% of teens who still listens to real music. That whole era of like scene culture, exactly. So when I looked at this, like my first thought was like, is this real? Like this can't be real. But every band on the bill has been posting it. Like it's real. It's happening, at least as of now. And it's presented by Live Nation, so it's legit. I do have some questions though. First of all, the tickets are not cheap. GA is $225. The hotel and ticket packages are $499. This is not cheap. When you figure like travel and hotels and stuff, let's say you and one other person go for like a weekend, it's going to cost you a couple grand. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But the first question I had was like, hold on a minute. This is one day and people are saying it's 3 stages. I couldn't find any information about that, but sounds right. There's no way you can have these bands on one stage, right? So I thought about this, like just logistically, how is this even going to work? This is like 50 bands or something on 3 stages in 12 hours. I did a little bit of math. That works out to roughly 17 bands per stage, which if you assume an instant changeover, which could happen if they're really smart about the backline, that would be 40 minutes per each band. Or you could say like 30 minutes per band with 5 minutes of changeover. You can make that work. It's going to be tight. It's kind of wishful thinking, I think, to believe that the changeover would happen that fast. And, you know, do you want to have My Chemical Romance and Paramore play for half an hour? Do you want to have them play at the same time as like, you know, the Ready Set and Horror Pops? Probably not. So I don't know. Does that mean that some of these bands are going to play for 15 minutes? I don't know. That was my first question. Just like logistically, how is this even going to happen? Somebody is investing millions of dollars in this, so I'm just going to trust that they have a plan for that. But it does seem kind of ambitious, right? Seems like this should be like 2 or 3 days because, you know, some of these bands, you know, you would want them to play for an hour or an hour and a half, right? But that's just not physically possible if they're trying to do this all in one day. A lot of people I've seen here, they're saying, is this Fyre Fest 2.0? I don't know about that. This is Live Nation. This is not some like fly-by-night promotion. I don't see any reason why we would think this is Fyre Festival. Like Fyre Fest was like a legit scam. This is the one they've made these documentaries about it where they took people to this island and promised all these crazy luxury accommodations, but they just got like a nasty like bologna sandwich in a paper bag or whatever, right? I don't think that's what's happening here. I don't think there's any reason to think that it's a straight up scam like Fyre Fest. I do think that there's reason to sort of question, are they going to be able to pull this off logistically? I don't know. We'll see. It really seems like it should be 2 or 3 days, right? I don't know why they're trying to cram all this into one day. Like, could they not book 2 days? I don't know why. And I think as some other people have mentioned, you know, COVID is going to probably thin this line out up quite a bit. That's probably true too. So we'll see. The second thing that I wanted to talk about is the prices, because it is not cheap. But look at all these fucking bands and look how big they are. Like My Chemical Romance, Paramore, AFI, Bring Me the Horizon, A Day to Remember, Avril, Jimmy Eat World. Like, these are not cheap bands. They got to pay a lot of fucking money to put this lineup together, right? So that money's got to come from somewhere. I would say if any lineup justified it, it's this, right? If you think about it, this is the same thing as seeing 10 different tours or maybe 20 different tours, each of which would cost you 30, 40, 50 bucks each. So if you think about it that way, it's actually not too bad. And, you know, for those of us who have kids or jobs or whatever, you know, you don't want to go to 30 different tours, or you can't go to 30 different tours in a year. Why not just see them all at once? Although with it only being one day, I feel like most people are only going to be able to see 4 or 5 bands they want to see. That is true too. If it's 3 stages and they're all playing at once, which they would have to, that's true. You're not going to be able to see every band you want. And that does kind of suck. I think that it would be way better if it was like 2 or 3 days personally. A big part of the reason why the prices are what they are is because think about who the audience is. This is for elder emos who are in their late 20s or early 30s that have disposable income. You know, they're like, oh, honey, let's go on vacation. We'll leave the baby with your mom for the weekend and we'll go to Vegas. We'll make a vacation out of it. This is for elder emos who have disposable income, because although we all think of ourselves as, you know, being the same young broke kids that we were in high school, you know, for a lot of these fans, they're not. Like, there's a segment of these people who are yuppies, right? Obviously not everyone. That is a lot of money, but there's enough people who can afford this that it makes sense now. And we just, no, but it's true. 20s and 30s are elder emos. It's true. No Zoomers will be there unless their parents bring them. Yeah, they're like, Mom, Dad, can we go see Jaden and Lil Huddy? And they're like, you little shit, why don't you listen to some real music like Mayday Parade and the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus? Not like that goddamn corporate TikTok pop punk. Yes, this is exactly the point I was going to make. Millennials are the new boomers. It's true. This is what I wanted to talk about. I've been involved with this shit for a long time, right? I've been listening to this kind of music for over 30 years now, which is horrifying to say. I don't want to say that number because it's a big number, but it's true. I've been into a lot of stuff over the years, like skateboarding or graffiti and, you know, all this other kind of stuff that has been mainstreamed eventually, like even death metal. Like, you know, you see Kardashians wearing a Morbid Angel shirt. I would have never fucking believed in a million years when I was listening to Morbid Angel in 1992 that 30 years later, the most famous, popular woman in the world would be wearing a goddamn Morbid Angel shirt with her husband, who's a famous fucking rapper, wearing a Cradle of Filth shirt. This is just sort of the natural order of things. Eventually, everything that was once like an edgy youth counterculture eventually becomes co-opted as a mainstream cash grab. That's just the way it goes. Just get used to it. I wanted to share a couple examples of that. I remember this happening a couple times. First one was to my parents. This is from like 89 or something like that. So my parents were hippies. They were into this kind of shit in the 60s and early 70s. They were into all this like hippie shit. I remember them being like horrified to see this back in the day.
Is that freedom rock? Yeah, man. Well, turn it up, man. Lord, I was born man. Hey, man, remember the good old days? You know, war, protest. Going to jail. Well, man, we found this new album.
Remember the good old days? War and protest? Imagine calling the Vietnam War the good old days.
Called Freedom Rock. It's got all those great songs we used to groove to back then. Just listen. I said, whoa.
So they took all these like hippie anthems and stuff like that that, you know, were the soundtrack to my parents like doing a bunch of drugs and fucking strangers on the fucking grass or whatever. And they packaged it into this like compilation CD that they sold with these infomercial, you know, these cringy commercials on TV. And I remember my parents being like horrified by this. Literal rose-tinted glasses, yes. Yeah, incredible acting, isn't it?
You should get Freedom Rock too. 4 records or 3 cassettes are only $19.95. 2 CDs.
They don't even offer. Oh, they do have it on CD. Okay.
Here's how to order.
But this, you know how old this is because they still had it on LP. So there's that, and there's also this one. So that was the youth culture of the 60s. Turned into, you know, a commodity for sale on TV. They did the same thing with the youth culture of the 70s and 80s, such as this one, the infamous punk CD.
You know what really makes us mad is wasting money on CDs with only 1 or 2 good songs.
Yeah. Tell them about punk.
Yeah, we got this CD called Punk. It's loaded
Tell them
with
about
our
punk.
favorite tunes, man.
Yeah.
Just listen.
And of course, nothing on it is actually even punk. Did punks really have that hair? Fuck no.
This punk CD has 36 tunes, man, and I'm telling you, they're all great.
Yeah.
Huey Lewis and the News.
Huey Lewis is punk.
Romantics. You can only get this CD by calling this 800 number, man.
Yeah.
Man.
Now.
I mean, these are good songs, but I don't know if I can call it punk. So there's that. There's also now, that's what I call dad rock. This is real. Featuring, you know, all your favorite dad rock favorites, including the Beastie Boys, Fountains of Wayne, Blink-182, Wheatus, Sum 41, Avril Lavigne, the 1975. The point is, this is just part of the natural cycle of life. You know, the edgy youth culture that you were into when you were in 7th grade eventually just gets turned into some cringy fucking corporate attempt at cashing in. And, you know, that's just how it goes. Blink-182 and Sum 41 were pissing off parents 20 years ago. Now they are selling that to parents at Walmart. You know, the dad's walking through the aisles and like, you know what? I remember MGMT and Wheatus. I'll just pick up this CD on the way home. The kids don't hate this stuff. You know, that's just sort of the natural order of things. It's weird to think of this, right? Like, it's weird to think of the used and AFI, you know, being old enough now to be considered a nostalgic cash grab. But if you think about it, they were. So that Freedom Rock thing, that came out in like 89, and that was referencing music that was then 20 years old, from 1969-ish or whatever. Well, AFI and the Used came out 20 years ago, right? AFI came out in like 95. That's almost 30 years ago. So I hate to break it to you, but for all of you in your late 20s or early 30s who are experiencing the panic of realizing that you are now old, realizing that you are now the generation that corporate America turns to for a nostalgic cash grab, I hate to break it to you, but this is only going to be the first of many times. This is going to happen to you again and again and again. It sucks, but you know, what can you do? With all of that being said, this is an amazing lineup. If I had to pick one as the single best festival lineup of all time, it might be this, assuming that it actually goes down this way, and who knows if it will. But I don't know. This is pretty fucking hard to beat. Certainly if you're an elder emo and you want to relive the glory days of MySpace and seeing hair and convincing your mom to get in the minivan and take you to Hot Topic while you listen to Pierce the Veil on your Zune on the way there. If you want to relive those years, When We Were Young is the festival for you. Those are my thoughts on this festival. I'm only 26 and this is already happening. It's going to keep happening. It sucks. Exactly. We're the new cash cows. I get it. You know, I'm 43 and I feel the same inside as I did when I was 21 in the good ways. Like, I think I'm not as stupid as I was when I was 21, I hope, but I don't feel old. You know, physically, I feel mostly the same. I mean, I can see I've got some more wrinkles around my eyes and stuff, but I pretty much feel the same. But time fucking flies, man. It happens. It's going to happen to everyone. This is exactly right. I hate that someone told me emo night is just 80s night for us. I remember when emo night started. It is a perfect example of this. I was like, oh, it's 80s night for, you know, Hot Topic kids. And this is like 10 years ago or so when they were like sort of just starting to become the age where they could go to bars and stuff like that. It is what it is. You know, you're not cool anymore. Get used to it. The red jumpsuit apparatus and AFI and the Used is dad music now. It's music for people in their, you know, in their 30s, really, because the Used came out in 2001. Let's say you were 13 then. You're 33 now, right? And 33-year-olds have kids like that are in elementary school. So it happens to the best of us, you know. The truth is we were never cool. The jocks were the cool ones. It is true. It happens to the best of us. Time flies. Just enjoy it. And if anybody gets a chance to go to this thing, let me know. I'm sort of tempted to go, except I don't actually like watching bands. So this would be torture for me to like watch 50 bands in a day. Would be horrible. But there'd probably be a lot of people I know there. So I'd be happy to like stand somewhere quiet in the venue and just chat with my friends. But I don't know that I want to pay $225 to do that. 90% of the chat is having an existential crisis right now. I hear you, man. We all think that getting old only happens to other people. Trust me, when they ask me my date of birth, you know, at wherever, you know, I put 1978 in there. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, How the fuck? That can't be right. How was I born in 1978? That was so long ago. That can't be right. I'd rather see 3 of those bands for 2 hours at 7 p.m. on a Thursday. Man, I wish every show was over by like 9 p.m. I don't like staying out late either. It sucks. That said, I mean, people seem to be excited about this festival. I hope it goes off without a hitch, because there's going to be a lot of very disappointed elder emos if it doesn't.